Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. The 49ers are done playing games because their season has come to an end after that crushing defeat in the NFC Championship game. But right here on the 49ers Report, we have you covered with the best offseason coverage, including this segment today. I put together my perfect offseason plan for San Francisco, and we'll break it down here momentarily. But first, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch already talked today. We pushed out a video earlier this afternoon. Be sure to check it out. After that, though, Jimmy Garoppolo held what might have been his final press conference as the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and I think the writing might be on the wall that he kind of feels that the team is going to move in a different direction and go to Trey Lance as the starter in 2022. Jimmy G on his Niners future had some interesting things to say. This included, Garoppolo said Tuesday that he's spoken with general manager John Lynch about potentially, quote, finding the right destination. Garoppolo said he wants to go to a place where the organization wants to win, and he signed off by saying, kind of in a sad way, it's been a hell of a ride after 5 years, guys, and I love you guys, so see ya faithful. That right there might have been the final words from Jimmy Garoppolo, and of course it was a bumpy, up and down, pretty fascinating 5 years in the Bay. A lot of it was marked by injuries, but the last 2 years that he was able to stay healthy helped lead the Niners to the Super Bowl back in 2019, and this year only missed one game, helped lead the Niners to the NFC Championship game. He won a lot of games, he turned the football over a lot, and over time, he became one of the most controversial quarterbacks in the National Football League. Whatever happens with Jimmy Garoppolo, we have you covered here on the 49ers Report. Next up, really excited to bring all of this to you. I did some deep dive analysis. I went into the mental chamber. The hot takes were flowing. The ideas were popping in my brain as well because this brain is always flowing. I haven't been able to sleep the last couple of nights because I've been thinking about all these 49ers ideas, and now I can present them to you. My guide for the San Francisco 49ers to have the perfect offseason to get back to Super Bowl contention. Step number one, it has to do with the guy who we were just talking about in Jimmy Garoppolo. It's time to move forward. It's time to bring in Trey Lance as a starting quarterback for this team and not have a ceiling on this offense that has so much potential under Kyle Shanahan, who I think is arguably the best young coach in the NFL. Jimmy Garoppolo's been able to win a bunch of games for San Francisco, and in doing so, it's been very impressive. He's come through in the clutch oftentimes, in the 2-minute drill, and at the end of games. Couldn't do that against the Rams, but now, look, no cap, move on from Jimmy Garoppolo because he has a ceiling on this offense, and I want to see this offense have unlimited potential. I think Trey Lance brings that element to the Bay Area. Now, thanks, Jimmy, but it's time to go. It's just simply time to go. We saw what an upgrade at the quarterback spot did with a team like the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford is so much more elite, lethal, and dynamic with his arm and ability to push the ball downfield than a guy like Jared Goff. Of course, the pieces around Matthew Stafford, very, very good. And with Goff, they would have won a lot of games. But the Rams as a team this year, making it to the Super Bowl, were just considered so much more dangerous with a dynamic threat at quarterback in Matthew Stafford as compared to Jared Goff. And Shanahan with the more dynamic, elusive, athletic quarterback who poses a running and passing threat. Give me that, please. 5 years in the Bay for Jimmy G, 31-14, 4-2 in the playoffs, a Super Bowl appearance, and 2 NFC title games in the span of 3 years. Hey, thank you so much for that, Jimmy G. You were also a model citizen and a model voice, face, and leader in the locker room. That's why the organization held on to you. That's why your teammates rallied around you, but his limitations held the offense back, and I think that came to fruition and reared its ugly head on Sunday. It's time to see what Trey Lance can do. In his 2 starts this year, we saw that this guy has a bazooka and a cannon for an arm, and he can make the run game more dangerous because he's unpredictable with what he can do to the opposing defense, as opposing defenses are forced to be on their heels. Now, Garoppolo is 30 years old, and for another team looking to trade for him, he's still somewhat young in a time and in an era where quarterbacks are playing forever. Tom Brady just announcing his retirement at the ripe age of 44. And Garoppolo considering the fact that he's a pretty solid quarterback, middle of the road in my opinion, base salary of $24.2 million, dead cap hit of $27 million, only 1 year left on his deal. So a team might look at Jimmy G and say, 31-14, he's won some playoff games, an organization that has a good defense and a run game and some weapons. Garoppolo can flourish here, and if it doesn't work out, we move on from him, and it's not like he kills our cap. Carson Wentz got a protected first-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles in that trade with the Indianapolis Colts. He just had to play 75% of the snaps. He was able to do that. Philly got a first-round pick. Sam Darnold, on the other hand, got a second-round pick in that trade between the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. Would you take Jimmy Garoppolo over Wentz and over Sam Darnold? I damn sure would. And for that reason, I think Garoppolo can get you at least a second-round pick in a year where you don't have a first-round pick and you have some needs on this roster at cornerback, offensive line, and on that defense, to just name a few of those areas that the Niners need to fulfill. Pick the 2022 starter. You're in the shoes of John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan. Who are you starting next year? Because when Kyle Shanahan spoke today, he didn't necessarily shut down the idea of JG coming back. If you want him as a starter, type JG for Jimmy GQ. You want to go with the Rook? Type TL for Trey Lance. Be sure to get your votes in the comment section down below. Step number 2 for the perfect offseason guide. Take care of your cornerstones, specifically Nick Bosa and Deebo Samuel. What a historic draft class a couple years ago to get Nick Bosa in the first round and Deebo Samuel in the second round. It's a little bit early, but if you get 2 potential future Hall of Famers in one draft, that's killer. And John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and Adam Peters and the crew deserve credit for that. Deebo, I'm not sure he's ever going to be able to duplicate the season that he had in 2021, where outside of quarterbacks, he emerged for me as the most valuable offensive player in the NFL. 77 grabs, 1,400 plus yards, average yards per catch of 18.2 for the Yak King, and 6 touchdowns through the air. On the ground, more touchdowns. He tallied 8 of them. Average yards per carry, north of 6. 56 carries and 365 yards. And time again, Kyle Shanahan relied on him to be a game breaker and save and bail the offense out in the regular season. Then he was able to do that in the postseason as well. That 45-yard quick pass to Deebo, where he took it to the crib. I know we just rave about Tyreek Hill's speed, that getaway speed that he has. Deebo Samuel turned on the Jets and took it to the crib in a way that Tyreek Hill does. The fact that he can impact the game like he does through the air and on the ground is flat out ridiculous, and he's entering the final year of his rookie contract. Deebo Samuel is an MVP caliber player, and when you get cats who are one of one, you have to find a way to retain them, keep them happy, and bring them back. Final year of his rookie deal, $4.9 million against the cap next year, but I don't think you want to flirt with irritating or frustrating Deebo Samuel. Get this deal done right now, because as the cap continues to blossom and grow, you can actually sign these guys going into the final year of the rookie deals and get them at a bargain, because the NFL continues to be king. As for Nick Bosa, 2021 stats coming off the torn ACL. 21 tackles for loss, 15.5 sacks, top 5 in the NFL, 4 forced fumbles, and 32 quarterback hits in 17 games. In the playoffs, he was also really good. Added 4 sacks on top of that. And this guy has continued to just show out in the biggest of games. He has now played in 6 playoff games throughout his career. In only 2 of those years, he's been healthy. Both playoff trips, because his 2020 season cut short because of that ACL injury, has 8 sacks in those 6 playoff games. Now again, this is really important. The cap is rising. These new TV deals are coming in. The TV ratings over the weekend were crazy. Both conference championships were peaking and averaging like 49.5 million viewers. That only means that the NFL, which is already king, is going to continue to get even more rich. So you save money by offering those deals now, and that's why I've been saying, if you let Jimmy Garoppolo go and you get rid of that $26, $27 million cap hit, it allows you to retain Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa moving ahead into the future. This is a pretty interesting question. Who do you think gets more money among these 2 stars? Is it Deebo? Is it Bosa? I think when it comes down to positions of importance, an edge rusher is more important than a wide receiver, but Deebo He's a special dude. Type DS for Deebo, NB for the Bear, and Nick Bosa. Once again, get your votes in the comment section down below. Now, as I mentioned, 49ers games are over. Our off-season coverage only getting ratcheted up. We're going to be pushing out multiple videos every single day and still videos every single day of the week. And we're still going to be going live 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. So if you want to rep the Niners during the offseason and support the 49ers Report, get yourself a San Francisco t-shirt by going to that link down below, chatsports.com/SF. I've had people receive them before I even get them, and we have people who bought them from Australia, Brazil, the UK, London, Ireland. You love to see it. We've been sending these puppies worldwide. Get yours right now and be a part of the movement as the largest 49ers news and rumors channel on YouTube by going to chatsports.com/SF. Step number 3. I think the biggest weakness on this Niners team, both offensively and on the defensive side of the football, it's that secondary, specifically cornerback. So step number 3, you have to draft and or sign a cornerback. Now, you don't have a first-round pick, but maybe with the second-round pick, you draft the corner. And if you trade Jimmy Garoppolo away for a second-round pick, you can also address the secondary. I like what I saw from Ambry Thomas. His growth was really impressive. I think Deommodore Lenoir, the jury's out on him. K'Wan Williams, Emmanuel Mosley, good players moving forward. K'Wan is a free agent. I like the safety tandem, and Jaquiski Tartt, also a free agent, as well as Jimmy Ward. But there are some pretty attractive names at the cornerback position in NFL free agency. J.C. Jackson, he could get $20+ million a year. I'm not sure I want to give a cornerback that much money if you can draft one for cheaper. Stephon Gilmore, older, had a decent year after getting traded from the Patriots to the Panthers. I don't know if I'd take a chance on him. Carlton Davis of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, still in his mid-20s. The Buccaneers, very, very tight on money. I think he might be my favorite cornerback among these 5 on your screen right now. Darius Williams of the Los Angeles Rams had a pretty solid season. He's a good corner. Casey Hayward of the Las Vegas Raiders, a little bit older, but maybe you get him on the cheap. And then these last 5 guys, as we give you 10 available cornerbacks, this is why you subscribe. Steven Nelson, I think he might get like a 2-year, $7+ million deal. Played pretty solid for the Philadelphia Eagles. On an affordable price, I'd like him. Bryce Callahan, Dante Jackson, Charvarius Ward, I like him, and D.J. Reed of the Seattle Seahawks. Can we poach a good player from the Seahawks? They've done the same to us over the last couple of years. Those are the top free agent cornerbacks. And of course, as we continue to move forward, we'll break down these draft prospects as well. I think cornerback is the biggest position and area of need for the 49ers going into this really pivotal offseason in which this Super Bowl window is still open. What do you think is the biggest position of need for San Francisco going into this offseason? You let me know. And again, this is why you subscribe. NFL free agency coverage, we got it on deck. NFL draft coverage, better, faster than anybody. Latest 49ers news and rumors. Today, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch spoke with the media. We had a video within the hour. Live shows. Every single week, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, our Rams watch party, well over 120,000 views. That's a channel record as we continue to break records. And be a part of the faithful family here at Chat Sports as we approach 55,000 subs. You want to stay in the know with all things Niners? The solution is simple. Hit that red subscribe button down below. 2 more steps to get to. And honestly, re-signing Laken Tomlinson might be at the top of my list. He has played in every single game with the 49ers since coming to the Bay Area from the hapless Detroit Lions. And that left side of the offensive line has become very, very good, very formidable, and one of the best sides of the offensive line in the NFL. Laken Tomlinson, Trent Williams on that left side, that's a really dominant 1-2 punch. We'll see if Alex Mack comes back. He said on Monday in his post-season press conference that he'd like to return and he loved his year, but he's going to take some time to figure out if he still wants to play. He's been doing that ever since he surpassed 10 years in the league, but that left side of the line has been anchored by Laken Tomlinson as well as Trent Williams, and I think re-signing Laken Tomlinson is of the utmost importance for San Francisco, especially if you have Trey Lance back there because you have to keep him upright and healthy. Trent Williams wants to see him come back. I think we're in line to have a strong offensive line group next year, said Trent, if we bring Laken back. they've developed a really good bond, and Laken Tomlinson feeling similarly as Trent Williams, saying, I love it in San Francisco. I'd love to stay, but I know it's a business. And with Tomlinson right now at 30 years old, you have to figure, okay, maybe this is his final opportunity to land a big contract. And there are so many teams across the NFL who are desperate to bulk up and beef up that offensive line because outside of quarterback, it might be the most important position group on the field in addition to defensive line and getting after the quarterback. And he's been so consistent. 80 of 80 games for Laken Tomlinson. Given the Bills, bring him back. Step number 5, keep that D-line room intact. We covered it late night on Monday as I brought you a video from home that DeMeco Ryans has turned down his second interview request with the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to be the defensive coordinator for at least one more year. I think it's his final year as DC because I think he's really preparing himself to be one of the hottest commodities when the head coaching carousel comes around a year from now. So give DeMeco Ryans all of the talent at his disposal and let's run it back because from week 10 on, this is arguably the best defense in the National Football League. And there are a lot of unrestricted free agents along the defensive line who are about to break down here. And some really good players who burst onto the scene as very good players for DeMeco Ryans' defense this past year. Arden Key, going to be a free agent. All of these guys are. 6.5 sacks this year. And DeMeco, not only did he move Eric Armstead inside, moved Arden Key inside, and it led to those guys dominating football games. Jordan Willis, 2 NFL trade deadlines ago, that's a good acquisition because he gave up basically nothing. Contavious Street as a rotational defensive tackle is good. D.J. Jones is even better. 2 sacks, but very good against the run. He's basically made us forget about Javon Kinlaw, first-round pick from 2020. And Mo Hurst, if he didn't get bothered by some of those lingering injuries, I think Hurst could have had a very good year on this defensive front. Maximized DeMeco's likely last year as the defensive coordinator for the Niners. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. He started off slow, and his defense did because he was pretty raw. There were some growing pains there, but his ability to make adjustments along the way was great. And the ability for the Niners defensive front to consistently get home with only 4 down linemen is special without having to blitz. Let's run it back. Let's make another run at a Super Bowl. You got to pay in order to do so. Look no further than the Rams, who are a very aggressive organization. The number 1 priority this offseason for the Niners, going to ask you once more. And once more, I'm asking for your feedback because we here on the channel greatly appreciate it. You let me know in the comments section. I'm going to go back and see what you all say.